Good evening, our dear listeners. Reading you the 9 p.m. news today is Nicholas Tebandeke. And in the news, President Museveni delivers Easter message. Police recover sharpened pangas from suspected gang. More ministers said to be charged over iron sheets. And Pope calls for an end to violence in DRC. Hear the news in detail. President Museveni on Saturday evening released his Easter message to Ugandans while at his home in Rachitura. President went on to accuse civil servants of undermining the country's economic growth by being involved in acts of corruption. President said the civil servants not only undermine projects aimed at transforming lives but also go ahead to collect bribes from the disempowered population. It is therefore a great shame that those elected by the wealth creators betray them and become corrupt, stealing government money, taking bribes to provide service, said the president in his Easter message. He added that wealth creators are suffering because of the parasites in the form of some corrupt civil servants and politicians. Uganda police have recovered pangas and access from suspected thugs in Gayaza Trading Center, Kasangati Town Council, Wakiso District. In an operation carried out on Friday night, police arrested 5 suspects identified as Charles Kawoya, Akiram Senkubuge, Enoch Mwesigwe, Dennis Sagara, Ivan Mwanja, and Rachel Nekesa. During the operation, the police recovered 8 sharpened pangas, 6 pickaxes, 5 spanners, 2 motorcycles, and a box containing nails, said the Kampala Metropolitan spokesperson ASP Luke Owesigire. He said that Nekesa is wife of Richard Mwesugwe, the suspected commander of thugs who is still at large. Further investigations are ongoing, including a search of the suspects' homes and efforts to trace those still at large. Police and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions have said that more government officials and ministers are expected to be charged in court for cases relating to the Karamoja Iron Sheet scandal. Fred Enanga, the police spokesperson, said that police investigations where the DPP bases its charges cast a wide net and more suspects are expected to appear in court. Jacqueline Okwi, the DPP spokesperson, said the scandal is being handled in piecemeal and so there are several files for several suspects. The file of Honorable Kitutu was the first to be submitted. We are expecting more files of other suspects to be submitted by police and they will be considered by the DPP as and when they are submitted. In other news, Kawale District on Saturday received a boat ambulance from the Ministry of Health with support from Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. The Kawale District Health Officer, Dr. Gilbert Arenaito Mateka, said that the boat ambulance will facilitate emergency referrals and ease immunization activities around Lake Bunyonyi. Dr. Mateka disclosed that the boat ambulance that awaits official commissioning will help in evacuating drowned people in Lake Bunyonyi, and it has come as a relief to the residents surrounding the lake. Mr. Emmanuel Ainebiona, the Senior Public Relations Officer from the ministry, said the boat ambulance will boost the health services on Lake Bunyonyi and the neighboring communities. Clearing agents at Katuna border in Kawale district want a resident engineer to offer timely repair and maintenance services of the cargo scanner stationed at the Uganda-Rwanda border. The demand comes after several trucks crossing from Rwanda to Uganda were stranded at Katuna border this past week after the cargo scanner was plagued by technical glitches. Trucks exporting goods to Rwanda were not affected as they are not required to be scanned at Katuna, whereas those entering Uganda were affected, which forced customs officials to manually verify cargo that was offloaded. However, Mr. Stephen Ojambo, the officer in charge of Uganda Revenue Authority Supervision Services in West Region, denied those claims, saying that URA has for the last few days been doing system upgrades on the cargo scanner and they were almost done with the tests by Friday morning. As we waited for the cargo scanner to stabilize, some cargo trucks were issued with the e-seals to proceed to their planned destination, he added. Across the borders, Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church, has today called for an end to violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo during his Easter message to Vatican City and to the world. The Pope's message comes after his apostolic journey to the DRC, where he met victims of abuses by armed groups in the eastern part of the country. The Pope had denounced the forgotten genocide of which the population of eastern DRC have been victims for several years. He had pleaded for the convergence of forces in order to promote peace and reconciliation in the country. Lastly, Islamic State, in a statement on its Telegram channel, on Saturday claimed responsibility for an attack on a village in eastern DRC that authorities said killed around 20 people. The attack, which took place on Friday in Musandaba, a village on the outskirts of Beni, is part of a wave of violence against civilians that the army and local authorities blame on the Allied Democratic Forces. Thank you for listening to The Explorer. Nicholas Tebandeke.